Welcome to the section on blogger outreach. Now for me, bloggers are a hidden superpower on the web. Get them on your side and you'll be link building like a pro. But you need to know what makes a great blogger and what pitfalls to avoid. So what we're going to do in this little video is we're going to show you through that. I'm going to give you some user tools to actually be able to test them, and we're going to introduce you to a couple of ways of actually going out there, getting people to build links for you, introducing you to some social media superstars and what to look for. So here goes. So firstly, what's blogger outreach? It's the process of going out onto the internet and finding relevant bloggers or social media people who will write about your product and service. It not only link builds back to your website, but it reaches out to their entire readership too. It's fantastic for SEO, and it can, if you get it right, it can drive absolutely loads of business. And I've got a couple of examples of that where I can prove it. The links are there for good, they just keep on giving, and that's where it's so powerful. You're actually building real long tail links deep into the heart of your website, so that's why it's really, really powerful. And these are bloggers in every niche. So if you've got a niche, then there are bloggers out there. So the example I'm going to use in this one is mummy bloggers. There's lots and lots of mummy bloggers out there. These people are getting free cars, free Disney 2-week holidays to Florida, kitchen equipment and all sorts, just for writing a review about what they are given for nothing. But by getting these things, this is the important bit, they're actively building our business. So on the surface it looks like they're getting holidays for nothing, but they're not. They're actively building our business for us. It's another reason why you need to really fully understand what your audience looks like, where they shop, what brands they align themselves with, and what they enjoy. The more you understand them, the more you can find like-minded influential bloggers. Now we have covered a bit about audience profile in Google Analytics and audience profiling in Facebook as well. So the more clearly you understand your audience, the more clearly you draw a picture of them, the more easily you're going to be able to target them. Bloggers give us credibility. Lots more positive mentions out there all over the internet, loads of great and properly tagged images, and good long tail deep links into our site. This is why we love them. They literally build our customer base one link at a time. They've got their own readership base. Some of these bloggers are getting tens and tens of thousands of readers. They add credibility to the site and your offer in their readers' eyes. Many of the readers look up to them as role models and follow them into the places they go. They can be absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to go over a couple of slides now about how to target bloggers and what to look for. Here's a couple of examples. Now, the key to it is targeting niches, I think. It's finding individual niches and pushing very hard into them. So we need to understand what niche we're looking to target and then find bloggers in that space. So as I said, in this example, we're going to aim to target mummy bloggers. Now, what are mummy bloggers writing about? So that's the first thing you need to understand. If you've got a product that's a relevant product for mums, what are they writing about? What do they care about? So, and for mummy bloggers in this example, what are they looking for from you in order to write about you and build links back to your site? So my experience in this market says they want to write about kids, tantrums, clothes, days out, parties, growing up, prams, cars, holidays. Some are much more commercial than others. They only want to write about things that get them free things. In fact, they're now increasingly writing about things that get them free products. That's all they want to do. They're in it for the money. They're in it for that. They've built up a good user base and now they want to monetize it. So you go out and find them and offer them free access to what you offer. If you've got something like an attraction or a restaurant, then you can give them free tickets, free meals, things that don't actually cost you very much. For Disney and the like, it must cost them, well, I suppose it doesn't. It costs them money because they've got to fly people there. Whatever you're giving away, you need to actually think about, can you give them free access to that or very, very discounted access to that, so they will come in and they'll review it for you. They will understand that they're getting it in exchange for writing about us in their blog. And because of this, so far, my experience says that I have not had one negative review written by a blogger where I've given them free tickets. If it really did go terribly and had an awful experience, they wouldn't write about it. I think that's the way it is. If they were given tickets and they wrote a really stinging review, people would stop giving them tickets. It just wouldn't be worth the risk. So, to be honest, it's totally mercenary. So therefore, look at their blog first. Always read their terms of engagement, and perhaps most importantly, check their readership levels. And we're going to go run through a little test in a minute, which is their trust flow from their website. And we're going to look at a couple of good examples of that. I would tend to extend that into their social media as well. So if they're social media influencers, then look at that as well. Have they got enough Twitter followers? Have they got enough Facebook followers? Are they actually gaining enough likes and shares on each of the posts they put up? Ideally, is there lots of comments about it too? And are they responding to those comments? If it's then and it's a really active social profile, then you know they're actually people you really do want to work with. Now, all bloggers have a rule of how to approach them, and we need to add in a way of how to assess them too. So here's an example which shows on a site how they want to be approached. So it's that same mummy blogger that I used as an example before, but this shows how they want to be approached. So there's the front of their website, and this is one of the pieces that I had written for me by one of them when I was looking after Bewilderwood, which I think I've used in other examples as well. So it's a really cracking example, absolutely lovely example, loads of photographs, nicely tagged photographs, lots of links back into the different parts of the website as well. There's a link to the homepage, but links further into it, links to the ticketing, links to the food and all sorts of things as well. And then here's her rules of engagement. And the bit that matters in here, there's a little bit here as well, which me and my boy review products and days out and share tales of our exploits. And I can often be found posting whimsical witterings about those issues affecting our lives. Mine and the boys, that is. But underneath here, you can see here, follow me, which is her Twitter thing, so worth having a look at that. Or if you want to talk reviews, guest posts, or anything else, feel free to drop me an email. And there's her email address. So that's the way to do it. Make sure you understand what she's after, what's likely to work for her, and what you've got to offer. So let's look at how we assess that site, see whether it's actually good enough. Now, I'm a big fan of the MAJESTIC Trust Flow score, so we're going to look at this. It just seems to work. It's a very good thing. So unless a site has credibility and is of good standing, links from it could potentially cause you more harm than good. So this is that site we've just been looking at there. So there are two stages to this. Firstly, look at your own Trust Flow score, whatever that may be. Ideally, you've got a Trust Flow score of 25 or more. If you're a new site, you'll probably start with 0 or a very, very low score. But this is a really good way of making sure you're not buying lots of spammy links. So first of all, look at your own Trust Flow score, and then only try and select bloggers with a Trust Flow score that is equal or higher than your own. So over here, you can see here, and you probably don't want links on this site because it's got a Trust Flow of 0. So it looks like quite a nice site. So yes, you can choose to buy links from it, but the links aren't going to be very good. So you really are then only depending on her Twitter and her readership for it actually to be good coverage for you. And if you really needed to, you could go back and ask her to no-follow all the links back to your site to make sure that they're not causing you any harm. But if you've got a Trust Flow score of 0, this won't do you any harm, but it won't do you much good. But if you've got a Trust Flow score of 50 and then you're getting links from Trust Flow sites of 0, it's really not going to help your cause. So here's another example, and this mummy is even less subtle in that she has a whole section of how to work with her. So this is again a piece she did for me for Bewilderwood. You can see here, Dirty Great Big link back there, lots and lots of text about the place, lots of very good photos as well. She really is a very good photographer, which helps. And again, her rules of engagement, and you can see it's a website about holidays and days out for babies and toddlers. You can see here which ones have been the popular ones. I've worked with various tourism organisations producing well-written inspirational articles showcasing destinations and accommodation to my readers. All of these articles have been promoted to my 16,000 social media followers, as well as ranking in the Google search results. So then she has a list of her favourite articles. So that is completely commercial. She's doing it for the money. But looking at her MAJESTIC score, I think this site is a little risky too. So she's got a Trust Flow score of 9, which is quite low. Now the other calculation that's worth doing is when you work together the Trust Flow with the citation flow. So you can see it over here. You divide the Trust Flow by the citation flow, and that gives you a figure which is the trust ratio. In this example, the trust ratio is only 0.3. I'll slow that down a bit there. If you look over here, you can see it here. Trust divided by citation, Trust Flow divided by citation equals trust ratio. And in this case, the trust ratio is 0.3, which is very low. Now, good sites should have a ratio above 0.75 and ideally above 1. Great sites can be as high as 1.3. These are great links to have, as they are super trusted sites where they're just incredibly trusted. So they're obviously much harder ones to get. So we're going to look at one final example of a mummy blogger. Now this site is actually much more powerful, as I'll show you in a minute, but it's completely full of adverts. She's obviously making a fortune on adverts, look, because there's a Dirty Great Big Policy B advert. There's a Google AdWords ad here as well. So she's actually given up a very large portion of her site just for advertising. But the Majestic score is actually much better. So you can see here they've got a TrustFlow score of 25. So a site with a TrustFlow score of 25 or more is where I'd be looking for links. It's still not high, it's still relatively low. The citation flow is 41, which is pretty high, and it gives you a trust flow of 25 divided by 41, which is still only 0.61. Trust divided by citation equals trust ratio. 0.61 is still not great, but a trust flow of 25 means you can probably trust them. It's good, but still not the best. But what it does show you is the power of the big news sites and how valuable their links are for your website. So here's one of what a powerful site looks like. This is one where I just ran it just as a test on BuzzFeed. A couple of bits to look at there. You can see there trust flow of 57, citation flow score over there of 63, which gives you a trust ratio of 57 over 63, which is 0.9. So a link from here would add real value and lift your site's ranking. It's a very, very good one. So again, still not the best, but not bad at all. Now, one alternative as well is you can go out and you can just buy links. So I did cover this in one of the Supercharged SEO lessons. You can just buy links, but do so very, very carefully. It's a real risk to do it unless you use someone reputable. Now, this is Fat Joe, who I've worked with in the past, and they're pretty reputable. But you should avoid others. There's loads of them on Fiverr.com. Avoid those like the plague, because they will, at best, you'll waste your money. I know $5 isn't a lot of money, but you will waste your money. I can guarantee it. That's at best. At worst, they will cause serious damage to your Google ranking. You may have to go through and disavow all those links, or get yourself a manual penalty from Google, get yourself kicked out of search. So you really want to avoid doing that. Now, I also mentioned about going beyond bloggers and into the social media, that there are social media influencers out there. I'm going to do another lesson about this, about social media influencers anyway, but social media influencers are really important. Similar idea, you give them free product, and you may even have to pay them, but in doing so they actually create recipes for you, they bake for you, they do whatever they do. In this particular example, they try your product and then they tweet it, they Facebook it, they write their own version of reviews about it online. So here's a couple here for Doriano crackers, where they've actually been on, sorry, the other one there is the Doria UK, which is the same company, but you can see there where they've actually been given product and they've actually then created recipes, and so they've got a pretty influential bunch of followers. And not only do they place product for you, but they share it with their entire audience too, and they add credibility and awareness. So it's actually, considering the price of advertising in a lot of media, this is a very good way of actually getting out to people as well. And then for the price of a few products, you're raising the profile of your brand. So here's another one again with those Doriana crackers, with another very influential Twitter person actually giving us that. But more importantly, by putting the product into context, or in context for users, they can have an idea about what to do with it and give them reasons for making it part of their life. So they're thinking, oh, that looks really nice, I'm actually going to go out and buy it. I hadn't have thought what to do with those crackers. There you can actually see they've made a sort of like salsa dip, and they've got it to go out. So how do we find these influential bloggers and influential social media people? Now, there's two obvious ways of doing it. There's sites like Cision, which is an expensive but fantastic product for PRs. They list lots of top 10s for you. If you pay for Cision, they give you a lot more detail. Obviously, it'll give you the top 1,000 bloggers in the UK. But some of these will be too big or expensive to work with. If you're only dealing with the top 10, some of these are getting absolutely enormous followings. But they're a very good place to start. You can run the tests on them. You can have a look at their Majestic scores and see whether they're the type of people you want to do. And if you've got a great product, they might actually come and work with you. It is easier, obviously, if you're well known or if you've got very deep pockets and you're prepared to pay them. The other way is to just take to Google and search beyond the first page of search results. Actually just go on and look. Just search for mummy bloggers, search for whatever you want to do, and actually go and find them. But you also need to think outside the box too and look for bloggers in other related areas. So if you're selling swimming caps, look at fitness blogs, sports blogs, family and mummy blogs, but maybe business and regional news blogs too, so you can actually try and get yourself awareness there and get yourself links back to your site there that way. But not only that, get yourself talked about by other audiences too. So that's it for this section. We're just going to do a very quick summary. The main thing you're doing is looking to find relevant bloggers and people who are well connected and shared on social media. So it's about relevance and about connectivity, looking for people who are really, really relevant. You're looking for bloggers who have a higher trust flow score than your own, a trust ratio that is ideally at 0.75 or above, but certainly if you can get one above 1, then you're absolutely laughing. You need to approach them professionally and carefully. For me, sending out mass spam emails to thousands may work in theory, but picking and placing product with relevant and powerful bloggers will have the effect of building links and drilling down through their followers too. It's as though it counts double, and with long tail searches, it's just a gift that keeps on giving, and this is why I'm such a big fan of this way of actually growing your business. With social media leaders, you need to set a rule for what you're looking for. Ideally, they need to have lots of followers and, more importantly, lots of engagement with what they're posting. So that's it. That's it for me on this particular section. Go out there, find some great bloggers, build some links, have fun, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.